Hello, greetings. Welcome to another evening with me. I'm Ishmael Perez. How's everyone doing? Today, we're going to talk about the Cedars of Humanity. We're going to talk about the human galactic archetype. And we're also going to go over the 12 different races that were used in the development of the original celestial angelic human race with 12 strands of DNA. We're not talking about the Adamu that was made 300,000 years ago by the Anunnaki. We're talking about the original human race that was made 560 million years ago. So before I get started, I do want to acknowledge some of you guys here. I want to welcome Joanna, MJF, Margarita Dorocher, Petra Sibian is in the house, Sylvia Foster, Thomas Alexander, Tino Petrenicio. Who else is in the house? Bill Pennington is in the house. Margarita Durincher is in the house. Michelle, Paul Michael, and so on and so forth. For those that don't know me, my name is Ishmael Perez. I am the author of those two books behind me, The Secret Government, Invisible Architects, and Our Cosmic Origin, both which are marvelous works revealing, the true history of the Earth and also the galactic history of the Earth back to the Earth. So with that in mind, I also like to share a day, an event that took place on this very day, as today is what, the 2nd of October, right? We're already 2 days into October, and Iran has already, launched attacks on Israel. So, yeah, again, guys, this is nothing to be scared of, but it's going to get to a point where things are going to climax. But that's when the white hats are going to flip the switch on the entire globalist. But before I, get started again, I want to mention a date in history. Did I lose internet connection here? Okay, so on this very day, October the 2nd, believe it or not, Charles Darwin returned to England. Now, I'm not a big fan of Charles Darwin. For those that have read The Secret Government, Invisible Architects, Charles Darwin was actually educated by the Jesuits. So him and people like Friedrich Nietzsche, Karl Marx, which were all ideologies that the cabal feeds off of, right? And their regimes of totalitarianism and communism. They were all educated by the Jesuits. So I'm not a big fan of Charles Darwin, okay? But, apparently on this day in the year 1836, naturalist Charles Darwin returned to England this day in 1836 after a 5-year journey on the HMS Beagle, on which he gathered the specimens and observations that led to his theory of evolution by natural selection. And of course, that is a bogus theory, because the first thing that theory does is eliminates the intelligent designer, right? The God factor. The second thing that theory does is it portrays everything as in a survival to the fittest, which means only the might or the strong will survive, and that is not true. There's so many inaccuracies in that theory, of course. The alien factor, the list goes on, right? There's too many missing links within Darwinianism, right? We don't come from monkeys, we don't come from apes. And that's the reason why I wanted to do this presentation, so you guys could get an idea of our entire cosmic lineage, right? And where we really come from, and how we are really just one of many human races throughout the vast multiverse. So let's go ahead and begin today's presentation. So the origin of humanity extends far beyond the scope of Earth history and reaches into cosmic events spanning millions of years. According to the Akashic records, the true origin of the human species was a divine experiment beginning in the constellation of Lyra and evolving throughout cosmic epochs, with Earth currently serving as the battleground for the completion of this grand experiment. Humanity's genetic and spiritual makeup originated from 12 celestial houses, has been a focal point for interstellar races, some aiming to uplift and others seeking to exploit this unique lineage. And we're going to cover both. Now, bear in mind that this whole concept of the 12 tribes of Israel, the 12, you could say, knights of the round table, it's all related to the 12 houses of Lyra that originated in Lyra. And then, of course, due to the Lyran diaspora, when they were attracted by the Draco, they had to, flee and seek refuge elsewhere, right? So, yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. Let's see. Okay, so before I begin to describe who these races were and the real seeding that took place 560 million years ago, according to the Akashic records, let's first explore a profound and mystical concept known as the human galactic archetype. I don't know if this is a term that has ever been introduced to this planet or if you guys have ever heard it before, but it is how it shapes the image of humanity throughout the cosmos. Apparently, there is some sort of universal archetype, right? Where human-like beings are springing into being in all the entire universes. So it is a blueprint, it is a pattern, right? A pattern, a vibration, which is followed by a vibration, or is it the other way around? Yeah, the pattern, actually the vibration comes first and then the pattern forms, right? So that is a pattern, right, that exists throughout the universe, giving form and substance to all beings that resonate with the light fields of creation. So this is the human galactic archetype, which is a universal pattern that shapes our bodies and indeed the very essence of what it's like or what it seems, our very essence of what it takes to be human is what I was trying to say. So at the heart of this idea is the concept of a vibrational archetype. A vibrational archetype, a universal form that condenses the light fields into divine patterns. All right. So, this is the reason why I say that we are descended from the celestial kingdom, right? Angelic, archangelic, right? We are the end result of that. For those that have read our cosmic origin, you know what I'm talking about, right? So, this form is not random. It is an intentional creation that reflects the image of what many traditions refer to as God or source or divine consciousness. In simpler terms, there is a divine geometry, all right, a cosmic design that serves as the template for all across the universes, a divine human blueprint. It is a shape and a form that is innately encoded within the very fabric of the cosmos that gives birth to the human image everywhere, right? Not just here on the earth, but mirrored throughout the stars and galaxies. The human galactic archetype is not unique to the earth, right? We often see representations of human form across various myths, spiritual traditions, and even extraterrestrial experiences or contact. This commonality exists because the human image is embedded in the fabric of the universe itself. When the light fields condense into physical form, the most harmonious and balanced expressions of the divine vibration is the human template. From this perspective, humanity is not an isolated anomaly, but rather a widespread galactic manifestation. So, across many different star systems, right, we witness the human archetype beginning with Lyra, right? We also see it in the Ceres, right, the trinary star system of A, B, and C Ceres. We also see it in the Pleiades, the Andromedans, and beyond. We encounter human form everywhere. So variations do exist, right? But they are all expressions of the same archetype, like different branches of the same tree. And that explains why some humans, right, even though we all have 5 fingers, a torso, a head, 2 legs, right, and feet, 2 feet, um, it varies in a sense where some humans have spockety ears, other ones have different color skin tones, perhaps a greater head, or a larger head. The eyes could be different, but it's all the same. It's all humanoid, all right? Resembling the celestial archetype, right? So the humanoid shape with its upright posture, bilateral symmetry, limbs, and facial features is the physical manifestation of a deep cosmic resonance. So many of you might be asking, well, where did this deep cosmic resonance originated from? Well, again, for those that have taken my class or read my book, it all began within the realms of eternity. It all stems from the mother universe, from the central universe. So it is a pattern that speaks of a shared origin, a common blueprint that runs like a thread through the fabric of all creation. Um, it is also an image that can be found, of course, throughout the entire galaxy and all the different universes. So it all began, right, when we were first light beings before we became beings of matter. So to understand why this archetype is so prevalent, we need to consider the larger cosmic story, how all of life is part of a divine descent from spirit into matter. In many esoteric traditions, for instance, this journey is described as a long process of spirit moving down through the dimensions, right? As each dimension or density becomes more denser, right? Each dimension gets more solier, or is that the word I'm looking for? It gets more materialized, you could say, right? From the highest realms of pure light, where there is no form, and the different grades of energy with different grades of form, from etheric matter all the way to the denser realms of what we call solid physical matter. So this journey is a descent, not one of separation, but of manifestation, right? Where spirit begins to take form in the realm of what we call physical matter. Now, in this context, the human archetype is a product, I'm sorry, of the descent, right? So we're the end result of wholesome light beings, right? That stemmed from eternity, right? And have currently been stuck in this reality where we think, life has a beginning and an ending, and it really isn't like that. So it is a divine form that condenses and crystallizes as spirit interacts with the fabric of physical reality. The vibrational patterns that exist in the higher realms shape the way energy flows, condenses, and manifests into physical form. The human body then is not just a biological accident, but a sacred vessel that mirrors the structure of the universe itself, a macrocosm reflecting the macrocosm. And if you guys don't believe me, each cell in your body is another galaxy at a micro level of reality, right? The molecules represent the nebulas, and the stars represent your atoms. Okay, but it's now being reflected at a micro scale of reality, and so that is the holographic concept of creation, right? So this is where the idea of being made in the image of God comes into play across many spiritual traditions. We find teachings that state humanity is made in the likeness of the divine. This likeness is not just metaphorical, but literal. The human form mirrors the cosmic archetype, which in turn is an expression of divine intention. By embodying this form, we participate in a long lineage of cosmic descent, a shared ancestry with all the beings that resonate with the human galactic archetype across the organic universes. One second here, let me turn on my air. It is getting rather hot here. Yes, that's right. Elite Savior says, as above, so below. Absolutely. Absolutely. As above, so below. So what that means is that even we are universes, right? Even we are universes. So absolutely, as above, so below. It's all a reflection of the one on different scales of reality. So the presence of the human form across the universe signify more than just a shared biology. It is it points to a shared spiritual evolution, believe it or not, right? We all have that in common. We're all trying to go back to the light, to becoming light beings, right? Now, the difference now is that we have the ability to take our bodies with us by spiritualizing our physical bodies. So the galactic universal or human archetype is a vehicle for consciousness, allowing for the expansion, growth, and evolution of sentient life throughout the cosmos. The archetype acts as a divine vessel, a form through which consciousness can explore, learn, and ultimately remember its connections to source. In many ways, the human image is like a cosmic bridge, connecting us to not only the higher realms of spirit, but also to all beings who share in the divine design. The galactic human archetype is a living template one that evolves as consciousness evolves. It represents a universal journey of higher awareness where beings move through lifetimes, dimensions, and star systems, continually unfolding this, excuse me, continually unfolding their potential and discovering the depths of what it means to be human. So when we look at the human body, we are not just seeing a physical form, we are actually seeing the divine blueprint of the human galactic archetype, a form that is echoed throughout the cosmos. By understanding that we are made in the image of God, the one infinite creator, we come to realize our place in the universe as part of a grand and ancient lineage of consciousness. We see that our journey is not isolated, but part of a vast interwoven dance of light and matter, spirit and form, right? And it just goes back and forth, back and forth. But now, because we're ending a cosmic cycle, now spirit and matter, light and matter, spirit and form get to integrate and unite as one. So that matter could also become eternal, okay? And that's what we're doing here on this planet. We are spiritualizing matter so it can become eternal. So by embracing this truth, we awaken to our galactic heritage and our potential to embody the fullness of what it means to be human, a universal being bridging the realm of spirit and matter, reflecting the divine archetype of that echoes across the stars. So, according to the Akashic records, the origins of humanity are deeply rooted in Lyra, one of the most ancient and foundational star systems in our galaxy. All right, it is here that the first celestial experiment took place to create the perfect human template, one that would eventually evolve into high levels of consciousness, or at least be able to embody high levels of consciousness, divine connection, and a multidimensional awareness. Now, one thing to consider, guys, is that even before the cradle or the origins of our ancestors in Lyra, humans existed way prior before Lyra. Okay, humans existed throughout the first creation, the second creation, the third, all the way to the 12th creation, which is the creation that we are now in. So humans have always existed. It just so happens the 12 Elohim houses of Lyra, which are the 12 tribes of Israel, by the way, were the culmination and manifestation of all the humans in all 12 prior creations. So this original divine experiment was to create a fully conscious race capable of housing, are you guys ready? A 12-strand DNA structure, allowing them to embody all levels of reality of the universal tree of life. This race was originally known as the Terranusian race. We're talking about our ancestors, the real ancestors, right? Not the Homo erectus of Africa or the Neanderthals of Darwin, but we're talking about the Terranusian 12-strand DNA celestial human race that would serve as the foundation of all human races to follow. And that explains why a lot of these other ETs who have lost the original galactic human blueprint archetype is time traveling to extract our genetics, because they lost that genetics, so they're still trying to connect to God, and the only way they can connect to God is by having all 12 dimensional strands. So the divine project is aimed to seed a cosmic race capable of holding frequencies from multiple dimensions and multiple universes. So the Lyran human template was designed to be multidimensional, capable of traversing and evolving through dimensions 1 through 12. 12, I don't have enough fingers. 12, integrating aspects from various celestial houses and retaining the original genetic purity aligned with the universal blueprint of ascended consciousness. Now, what does this mean? Integrating aspects from various celestial houses. Well, I'm going to get to that in a bit, okay? So this seeding on Earth and the terrestrial experiment approximately began 560 million years ago. The divine experimented extended to Earth, or Terra, as it was known, in pre-physical, higher dimensional forms. The Terra version of Earth existed in dimensions 4, 5, and 6, and served as a staging ground for the celestial experiment to manifest in a material plane. The seeding of humanity on Earth was a pivotal moment in galactic history, allowing the development of a unique race known as the Terranusian celestial race, which was the original human race on this planet. This was the original 12-strand DNA human designed to exist harmoniously within dimensions 4, 5, and 6 and maintain an unbroken connection to divine source. So, one of the beings that is in charge of this project, right, are known as the tall whites from Sirius B. And Linda Moulton Howe has a lot of evidence that confirms that, okay? The tall whites from Sirius B, which are really the species that is in charge of the seeding of the human race, all right? Let's just be technical here. It wasn't the Anunnaki, all right? It was the tall whites who were the ones that were directing the amalgamation, the interbreeding program that led to the 12-strand DNA Terranusian race. Now, the tall whites from Sirius B is an advanced extraterrestrial race that were tasked with the genetic engineering and seeding of this celestial race. Their role was to ensure the preservation and development of a 12-strand DNA template, which was seen as the blueprint for all human life and the key to ascending into higher states of consciousness. The tall whites of Sirius B acted as the stewards of this lineage, guiding the original Terranusian celestial race to develop the necessary spiritual, emotional, and physical attributes to carry the frequencies of the 12-dimensional universal light codes. And we still have those frequencies laying dormant within our sleeping DNA. I don't like calling it junk. Let's just call it sleeping DNA. So the 12 houses of celestial races, the original divine experiment, including the involvement of 12 celestial races, each representing different cosmic frequencies, attributes, and elements of consciousness, coming from all parts of the universe, right? So these houses contributed to the genetic and spiritual design of humanity, ensuring that the human species could be capable of embodying a vast range of divine personalities, right? And that also includes a vast range of emotional spectrum. This is another advantage that we have over every other race out there due to our diversity in genes that we carry in one genome. So these celestial races hailed from various star systems, including Sirius, Andromeda, Arcturus, Orion, and of course the Pleiades. Each house carried distinct DNA codes and energetic blueprints that were integrated into the Terranusian human genome. The purpose of this 12 celestial houses was to create a human race that could evolve through the various dimensions, from the first dimension of physicality to the 12th dimension of pure consciousness, pre-material light dimension, right? This is where we call the beginning of the realms of eternity. So what does that tell us? That we are the only race in the universe that have the capacity to evolve to the 12D while maintaining physical form. That is amazing, guys, okay? Humanity's 12-strand DNA structure was specifically designed to encode the capacities for unconditional love, multidimensional awareness, universal unity, and divine power, ensuring that the species would, would be capable of ascending through the different levels of cosmic evolution. So bear in mind that in this process, there has been multiple attempts by falling celestials, right, negative aliens, that have tried to corrupt and compete and institute competing agendas. So I'm sure you guys know where I'm getting at, right? Supposedly the 22 different genetic experiments that have been going on for the last few thousand years. But again, some of these genetic programs are not part of the original angelic human blueprint. So I'm talking about extraterrestrial groups that were not aligned with the original celestial intention, okay? Over time, various ET programs, especially those that the whistleblowers call the 22 different genetic programs and species, sought to corrupt and manipulate and extract the genetics of the celestial human template for their own agendas. And this is the reason why there's been a lot of abductions throughout all of history, not just recently, right? Because they're after that genome that we have that they don't have. These groups, including the Draconians, certain factions of the reptilians from and the Greys, right, also known as the Naboo, among others, their primary aim was to acquire the genetic codes within the 12-strand DNA template to advance their own genetic evolution and develop what they perceived as their own version of a super being, but it's a super being without the God consciousness, which ultimately leads in destruction, right? They become evil, in other words, right? Without the God consciousness, is impossible to live in service to others or do what's right. So the corruption of the human lineage involved interference with the genetic coding, spiritual devolution, and an attempt to cut off humanity from its higher dimensional potentials and divine source connection. These interferences often resulted in the manipulation of human consciousness, the development of hybridized genetic programs, which continue to exist, and the suppression of the higher DNA strands necessary for multi-dimensional awareness and ascension. It is believed that it was about actually 1,000,000 years ago when they first intervened, the dark races, and then 50 million years ago, and then once again 300,000 years ago with the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki were the last of these genetic, raider races that tampered with the already existing 12-strand DNA human celestial race. So speaking of the Anunnaki, did you guys know that the Anunnaki was also a significant part of the original celestial experiment back in Lyra? Yes, they were, guys. Even the Anunnaki were part of the experiment. All right. However, the Anunnaki were missing a key component that differentiated them from the original Terranusian celestial race 12-strand DNA genome. The 12th strand held the Christed or divine source frequency gene, which allowed to complete connection and alignment with the higher cosmic consciousness, which is at the level of the 12th dimension and higher. Okay, the Anunnaki couldn't reach that level because they disconnected themselves. Not all of them, some of them. They disconnected themselves from God, right? While the Anunnaki held advanced abilities with technology and knowledge, their genetic structure lacked the final strand that they were after, preventing them from attaining the full potential of the celestial human template. And this explains why some of the Anunnaki, right, fell, joined the Luciferian rebellion, joined the Draconian reptilians, and decided to throw another monkey wrench in the 12-strand DNA Terranusian experiment, divine experiment, okay? So over time, factions of the Anunnaki became increasingly involved in their own genetic experimentations with humanity, seeking to downgrade the original 12-strand DNA human race. And we see this happening after the fall of Atlantis. So this led to a series of interbreeding programs, genetic modifications, and power struggles that greatly influenced the development of human civilizations on Earth. The Anunnaki's involvement is intricately linked to the various mythological and religious accounts, particularly those related to the Sumerian texts, which describe their attempts to control and guide humanity's development for their own selfish purposes. But their time is up, and they know that we're waking up, right? And that's why the negative Anunnaki that were once in control of the Cabal have been eliminated, right? They no longer control what happens here on this planet. I read a comment on one of my lives, and somebody asked me if all the ETs, all the negative ETs were taken off world or were taken off of our planet, and the answer is yes. And some people say, well, what about the Anunnaki? Well, the Anunnaki have been around, the negative Anunnaki, for thousands of years. And just so recently, within the last few years, they were also forced to leave the earth, all right, by divine decree. So as the divine experiment reaches its culmination now, any day now, humanity stands as a critical juncture in its evolutionary path. The original 12-strand DNA structure has been largely dormant within the human race, with only a partial activation in most individuals. However, the current age marks a significant opportunity for humanity to reclaim and awaken its full genetic potential, aligning with a divine blueprint intended by the celestial races. So, this completion, right, as we're ending so many cycles, right, coming to the ending of a long era and the beginning of a new era, this completion is not merely genetic, but also spiritual, as it involves a reconnection to the higher dimensions and an awakening to humanity's original purpose as a cosmic race of divine proportion. This ascension process involves clearing distortions within the DNA, reclaiming multidimensional awareness, and activating the dormant strands to enable full consciousness embodiment. Various spiritual traditions, metaphysical teachings, and esoteric philosophies resonate with the current push for humanity's ascension. From a higher perspective, the human species is on the verge of a monumental leap in evolution, returning to its original divine form as the bearers of the 12-strand DNA template. This marks the reactivation of the original codes of the Terranusian celestial race and the alignment with universal consciousness of unity and love. So, the true origin of the human species lies within a cosmic experiment that began in Lyra and spread throughout the galaxy, reaching its climax here on planet Earth. This divine experiment aimed to create a perfected human race with a 12-strand DNA structure capable of embodying physical and non-physical dimensions all the way to the 12, guided by the celestial houses, overseen by the tall whites of Sirius B, and constantly tested by various extraterrestrial influences seeking to corrupt or capitalize on humanity's unique genetics. The human species has endured a complex journey of spiritual evolution. So today we stand at a threshold of a great awakening, reclaiming its original blueprint and fulfilling its role as a multidimensional race of super beings, of divine beings. As we reconnect with our cosmic heritage and activate our latent DNA potential, we complete the divine experiment that began millions of years ago, aligning with the purpose of the celestial races and contributing to the ascension of all consciousness within the universe. Now, before I mention the 12 races that we are made out of, right? There are 12 races that are actually, we could literally say, are our parent races. Are you guys ready for this? Okay. I do want to also remind you guys that I'm having a book event. I'm going to be making an appearance, doing a lecture and a personal Q&A for those that make my free event this coming November 9th in the city of Banning, Riverside County, California. This November the 9th, I'm going to be there at the, I think it's called the theater, the old theater in Banning. But for more information on that, go to my website or cosmicorigin.com. And make sure you guys come and meet me in person. So I'm going to be in Banning, California. Again, the details of that event will be in the description. If you guys go to my website or cosmicorigin.com, you guys will be able to access the details of that event. I might have those on me right now. Hold on one second. I know some people really wanted those. Okay, so it's going to be the theater. It's called the Fox Theater. The Fox Theater in Banning. It's an old theater, okay? It's called the Fox Theater in the city of Banning from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. So if you guys want to hang out, it's going to be a free event for those that make it this coming 9th of November. All right, so are you guys ready for the 12 races? All right, so we have a combination of, or we are a composite of, are you guys ready for this? Lyran, the original Lyran race, right? Are you guys ready for this? Syrians, particularly tall whites of Sirius B. Cetes, the Cetes is known as a blue race from Sirius C. Blue Ozirites that were known as the original Seraphim, the blue Ozirites, also from Sirius. Andromedans, the Andromedans contributed their DNA. The Pleiadians contributed their DNA, and that's from all seven sisters, from Electra, Merope, Maya, Atlas, Pleione, you know, Alcyone, Taygeta, and so on and so forth. So we have DNA from all the seven sisters. So as well as from the Arcturians contributed their DNA. Venusians, right, from planet Venus. So we do have Venus DNA in us, Venusian DNA in us, rather, and also from the three star systems that comprise the Orion Council of Light, known as Mintaka, Al-Nitak, and Al-Nalim. Now, these are the three star systems that comprise the belt of Orion, in which the three main pyramids in Egypt are aligned to as well. And there's more. The final race that contributed their DNA to us were the original Syrian, Lyrian, Pleiadian Anunnaki, which is the Galactic Royal House. So these were the original Anuhasis. They were known as the Anuhasi before they became known as the Anunnaki. We're not talking about the reptilian draconian Anunnaki, all right? They created their own hybrid race that resulted in the Cabal families. We're talking about the original angelic Anunnaki that came from Sirius B. So my friends, those are the 12 races that ultimately were involved in the seeding of the 12-strand Terranusian race, which is, again, a race that is supposed to operate on a multi-dimensional level of reality. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and take some questions. If you guys could type in your questions in capital letters, that would be greatly appreciated. Yes, Athena is drinking water once again. That is what you guys are listening to, or hearing, rather. The Terranusian angelic human 12-strand DNA template. Yes, that's where we descended from. That's who our ancestors were 560 million years ago. So yeah, human civilizations have been here for even before Atlantean epochs, even before Lemurian epoch. Can you repeat all 13 quickly? Oh boy, no, we don't have reptile. Okay, unfortunately, when Enki, the master geneticist, tweaked with the 12-strand DNA Atlantean race, right, descendants of that during the Atlantean epoch, he did give us a little bit of reptilian DNA in order to control us, so that we could have the primitive line, also known as the R complex. But that's only a small percentage. All right, not to mix that with the Cabal families, who are like 55% or 60% reptilian and only 40% human. Oh, I guess I shouldn't be tapping my screen. I just almost lost myself. No, 960 billion years ago. No. That is when the cosmic cycle began. That's when the 15-dimensional time matrix first came into existence. Who wrote the Bible? Well, it is believed that the Old Testament is a consolidation of the ancient Sumerian tablets. So I would say that it was the Anunnaki, that particularly it started with the positive Anunnaki, but then the original word was corrupted by the negative Anunnaki when they rewrote the records. All right, some people want me to name those 12 races again that contribute their DNA to make us, because we are a composite of those 12 races. All right, I'll read them again. So we have okay, so we are going to begin with the Lyrans. The Lyrans, the original race, they contribute So we received the first race that contributed their DNA was the original lion race, which is a blonde hair, blue eye. Okay, and then it was the tall whites as well as the Cetus, a race known as the Cetus from Sirius A, and then also the blue Azurites, which were the original Seraphim. So we also have angelic DNA, as well as, are you guys writing this down? Um, so after the series, after the blue Azurites, we also had the Andromedans. We also had the Pleiadians, and that includes all 7 stars, right? From Alcyone to Pleione, Maya, Electra, Taygeta, and all that. We also have the Arcturians that contributed their DNA. We also have Venusians from planet Venus. We also have members of the Orion Light Council that come from planet Mintaka, Al-Nalim, and Al-Nitak. We also have and then of course the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki was the last race that contributed their DNA. But yeah, so we are a potpourri. We are a potpourri, rather, right? We are a mixture of all these galactic races. So that's what we are, guys. We don't come from apes. Darwin is wrong, right? Our original ancestors have been migrating and colonizing various star systems, not only in the Milky Way, but in other galaxies as well. Oh, Chastine Rose is saying 960 billion years ago it all started. Yes, you must have taken my course, our cosmic origin course, where I give you guys a thorough cosmic history of 960 billion years from the first creation all the way to the 12th creation. Now, I am doing one last course for our cosmic origin and ascension basics. The second week, it's going to be on the weekend of October, and this is going to be my last classes till the end of the year. Due to my book tour, I'm not going to be opening up more classes till next, probably January or February. So I'm just letting you guys know, for those that haven't taken my courses, my last class for either Ascension Basics or Cosmic Origin are this coming October, the second week of October. So make sure you guys go to my website and take those courses if you haven't yet. Star seeds are also Elohims, right? That is a very good question. And this was a question that I was actually asked in my earlier interview today. And the answer to that is not all star seeds are Elohim, right? Most star seeds are 5th, 6th, and 7th dimensional beings, right? They come from these dimensions. A small number of star seeds are 8th, 9th, and 10th dimensional beings, which are like equivalent to angels. And there's a rather few percentage, or a really small number of star seeds are actually coming from the 12th dimension and up. In order to be an Elohim, you have to come from the 12th dimension and up. So that is only a few. And yes, they are living among us as well. So where is Jesus from? Well, it is believed that Jesus is the manifestation of the original 12 houses of Lyra. So he comes from the galactic royal blood of the original Syrian Lyran kings and queens. So some believe that he was from Sirius B, which is where the galactic royal blood came to the earth, or the galactic, what is it called? The royal blood came to the earth, which manifested in the lineage of King David. And even he said, I am not from this world, you know. He did mention that a lot in the Bible, that where he comes from is a different place than this earth. Did the Anunnaki arrive before or after the Atlantis civilization? That's a very good question. They arrived in the middle of the Atlantis civilization, or in an era in between. The Atlantis civilization had flourished for at least a few 100,000 years, almost a million years before the Anunnaki arrived and corrupted it. So, yeah, the Atlanteans were around way before the Anunnaki arrived. This is a question from Law. Will we get our DNA reactivated with the solar flash or with the medbeds? It's going to happen naturally. We won't need medbeds for that. And by the way, the medbeds are not meant to activate our dormant DNA or make us look 30. That is going to happen automatically when the solar flash takes place. Okay, so it's not the medbeds that are going to do that. What will be the end come? The end come. I think you're referring to the outcome of the Iran Israel war. Again, I mentioned this in my White Hat report 2 weeks ago that things are going to escalate, making it seem like there's going to be a third world war, and a lot of it is going to be initiated by what's happening in the Middle East. But right before the sirens, or right after the sirens are heard everywhere, right, and there's panic everywhere, that's when the Earth Alliance is going to um, take over the airwaves, neutralize the facilities, and establish world peace immediately. Yes, once we are using our crystalline genetics, right, we will be able to traverse any dimension we want at ease and literally materialize and take any physical form. But our original archetype, as I mentioned today earlier, is the angelic humanoid form. That's going to be our original body. All right, somebody is saying this is from Margie King that today Elon Musk sent Starlink towers to the hurricane ravaged areas who have no communication services. Is this a sign that the EBS is coming soon? Thank you for all you do. It sounds like it, especially if Starlink is stepping in. Once Starlink fully steps in, and it seems like they're beginning to, based on what you just said, it seems like, yeah, we're going to finally be seeing the the fall of the cabal. Absolutely. Ishmael, are you aware of a large spacecraft that was found by Apollo 20 on the dark side of the moon, which contained three murdered dead Martians? Any idea who may have done this evil act? Info from BT. No, I wasn't aware of that. I wasn't aware of that. BT is Valiant Thor. No, I wasn't aware of that. But thank you for bringing it up. Somebody's saying, so you're saying that we are all hybrids, best of the best? And the answer to that is yes. The best human hybrids, you could say. We carry the best of all the different human stock that ultimately came from all the universes, put into our universe, and then from our universe, they were put into us, you could say. So technically, within our DNA, we have the history of the entire multiverse. Isn't that cool to know? Oh no. Okay, your question was: Is are we mixed with all those off-worlders that you listed, or are we more than one another or certain groups? We are the culmination of an intergalactic human experiment, genetic experiment, that was actually transferred into our universe through the Lyrans from other universes. And we are the end result of that. You might want to watch this from the beginning again. What is the difference between soul and spirit? That is a good question from Kathy Rainbow. I would have to say that spirit is what connects us to the greater consciousness through the unified field. So our body is in our spirit. Our spirit is not in our body. Soul is the fragment of God. It's a fractal of God that exists within our individuality. That is a part of who we are as personalities down here in the 3D. So if you have a soul, that means you're a fragment of the one infinite creator, right? Through a holographic concept of reality, the fractal also represents the whole. So we have the capacity to evolve into the image of the one. And spirit is the part of ourselves that extends to our energetic bodies, our causal bodies, our light bodies, that allows us to traverse and be everywhere at once if we wanted to, right? If we wanted to. So that way we're not limited to this local time of what we call locality, right? We're not limited to just this locality, and we could actually be in multiple places at once. But in order to do that, we have to have access to at least 50% of our crystalline genetics activated so that we can have access to the light body. Yes, we are the best of the best, says Wolf Mother. Ishmael, if Nibiru is on course, would Earth be feeling any of its effects by now? Yes, we are beginning to feel some of its effects, but again, this is positive energy. It is energy that is actually activating the star people on the planet, the volunteer souls, even if you're coming from the fifth dimension. everyone that volunteered, all the old souls, were all positively being affected from Nibiru or by Nibiru. I don't know if I have any super chats. Let me check on my phone because they don't come up here because I'm using Restream. Every time I use Restream, I don't really see the super chats, but let me just double check. Let me see if I have any super chats here. No, no super chats. Okay. Ishmael, what effect does having AB blood type have on my spiritualism? I've always felt very connected to God source. It doesn't matter if you are A, B, negative, positive, O. It doesn't matter what blood type you have. We all have the potential to be very connected to God source. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you just AB negative. You could be AB positive and still have the same connection. But what that means is that You have latent, dormant abilities. All right, you have powerful abilities that are just lying dormant within you. But everyone has the connection to God source, regardless of blood type. Yes, prayers to all the hurricane victims. Absolutely. Ishmael, is our aura comparable to a light ship to traverse realms? Well, when we begin to use our crystalline structure, we're going to be able to use our own, Merkaba, our own light body to traverse the different realms. So, in a sense, we could say that through our light body, we're going to be extending, it's going to be an extension of ourselves. We're going to have our own biospheres, right? We're going to be able to travel beyond the speed of light. Is the Tesseract real? Absolutely, it's real, right? All geometrical patterns, guys, the Tesseract, which is a cube of power, it's a fourth dimensional square, is very real. Did we get the reptilian brain from Enki? Yes, that is correct, Aaron. This is a question from Aaron H. Because remember, Enki was also half reptilian through his mother Drami, who happened to seduce Anu into having intercourse with him. See, if Anu only kept his pants or his pants on that night when he was hanging out with the reptilian queen, none of this would have been happening. Yes, I also heard that the military are at the ports trying to help rescuing the children and taking over the what's going on with the strike right now, all throughout the East Coast and in Texas. So the military is stepping in order to make sure that nothing bad happens. And we're talking about the military that is working with the White Hats. I just wanted to point that out. Well, first of all, somebody's asking, why is FEMA preventing and confiscating supplies to the hurricane victims? Let's just be real here. All of these agencies are not, they don't stand for what they are meant to stand. They're actually deep state facilities, deep state organizations. So instead of helping, they're of course they're going to be doing the opposite of that, and that explains why the real military, right, through the White Hats, are stepping in to help. Well, this is a good question. This is a question from Vicky Andrews. What's happening with the cities on the moon and the beings? Well, first of all, the colonies that have been existing inside the moon and on the other side of the moon, right, where they call it the dark side of the moon, have all been recuperated by the Galactic Alliance and Radiant Guardians. I mean, sorry, Solar Warden. Solar Warden, which is the positive military, uh, you could say, secret space program, have completely restored the different, cities back to the light. So when we transition into a type 1 interplanetary civilization, which is going to happen really soon, all of those facilities, all of those, you know, colonies are going to be available to us. So a lot of the negative ETs that were occupying the moon for thousands of years, up until maybe 2019 and 20, when the house cleansing began, have been removed. Have been removed from the moon. That's right. This is a reminder from Barb Hayam Bjorson. We are all in on our own creation and volunteer to come here to reactivate our DNA abilities. That's right. Thank you for that reminder. Where is the Tesseract? That's a very good question. The Tesseract, I'm gonna have to look into that actually. I don't know where it's at, but I do know it's real and I do know it exists. That's a good question though. All right, so I hear that there's a new moon today. Oh, that's good news. No wonder why everything seems to be amplified. Whatever we feel, it just amplified today. It's been like that all day long. Perhaps Art Anderson is asking, will we be able to levitate? Well, I would say if you're doing the spiritual work and you've cleared all your shadows, I don't see why not. I don't see why not. Do beings in higher dimensions have brain implants or not? Um, I don't think so. I don't think so. There is a certain degree you could say where there's a certain degree of reality where it is impossible to have any type of implant because you're using what is called etheric crystalline matter. All right, you're not using a body of flesh and blood or a physical body like we know it here on the third in the 3D. You're using a very subtle, very higher vibrational vehicle, which makes it impossible to have any implants. The implants only exist within the lower dimensions, you could say. Okay, this is a good question from Sunny. Is evil be eliminated all over the cosmos? I don't know if it's happening in other universes, but from what I hear, in our universe, there is a huge intergalactic and galactic tribunal taking place where all of the intergalactic warlords have been arrested in our universe. But as far as other universes, I believe that the ascension of the Earth well, first of all, the other universes are all being affected by AI. Okay, so I believe that the ascension of the Earth is going to mark the ending of, you could say, what's happening in other universes, because the Earth is going to be at the epicenter of the entire multiverse. And then, of course, we're going to have 1,000 years of peace, and then at the end of 1,000 years of peace, we're going to have a final war against AI to free all these other universes from being under the control of AI or from suffering because of AI. Is okay, I'm going to use a code name. Is the Wicked Witch Hillary 100% reptilian? Who knows? Perhaps I would say she could be. I don't know. That's a good one. Somebody's Ben Harris says, "Oh my God, what did I stumble into?" um, Do we all have implants? No. This is a question from Tracy McMaw. She wants to know if we all have implants, and the answer is no. No, we don't. Oh, this is a good one. A good question from Alan Conley. Alan Conley. He's asking, can you explain what the black cube worship is and where it comes from? It comes from Orion. It comes from the Rigel star system, which is the epicenter of the dark forces in our galaxy. There's several black cubes, you could say. Wherever the reptilians conquered systems and worlds, they set up black cubes in order to install their dominance through this vibrational frequency that keeps species at a very low, level of thinking, so that they could create slave races. So wherever these reptilians conquer systems, they set up a black cube. So the black cube was also set up, many believe it was in Mecca, right? That black cube that the Muslims worship is pretty much the black cube that was installed by the Draconians thousands and thousands of years ago when they usurped control of Atlantis. But the black cube correlates with Saturn, right? The black sun cult, which gives allegiance to the reptilians, to the draconians, to the dark side. So yeah, the black cube worship is definitely Luciferian, and is of draconian origin, to be exact. Well, this is a good question. Are some dogs angelic beings? Yes. I believe that sometimes we adopt a pet, or we inherit a pet, or we want a pet, because subconsciously our higher self wants us to adopt a being that is, you could say, that has the consciousness of an angelic being, but in the animal body, you could say. So I would say, yeah, some dogs and cats are in nature angelic, you could say. Absolutely. Was This is a question from Void Runners Official 777. Was cities based off of motherboards? I don't know what you mean by motherboards. Yeah, I don't know what you mean by motherboards. Was cities based off of motherboards? That's a good question. I just don't know what that means by motherboards. Ishmael, a lot of you guys are talking about the port strikes. Well, I told you guys 2 nights ago that that night, Monday night at 12 midnight, right? The shore, the workers at the ports were going to go on strike. It's been happening for 2 days, guys. But luckily, the military is stepping in to help. Okay, so that way there's no food shortages, and things go accordingly, and we don't have to worry about stocking up or anything. This is another question from Law. Will we leave this planet on a collective level? Absolutely not. No, no, no. We're actually going to be staying in this planet. We're anchoring in our higher selves back into physicality. So we're going to be staying here when we activate. Ishmael, when will we see Nibiru in the sky? Well, some people are already capturing two suns, right? Pictures of two suns. So it's becoming rather visible, but very, very soon we're going to be able to see it as a second sun. All right, I need to share this with you guys. This is a very good statement question. I guess it's both from Jose Gomez. He's saying, Ishmael, is it true that our spirit? Oops, I just lost it. Oh boy. Sorry, Jose. I just lost your chat. This chat's going so fast now. Um, have you heard of the Black Pyramid in Alaska? I have. I actually have. That pyramid was actually put there by the Draconians. It's not a very good pyramid. All right, one more question. One more question. Okay, this is a good one. What is a paradise planet like? Well, anything in fifth dimension and above is a paradise world where there is no extreme polarity. Everything is in balance. So we could say that all of the planets out there, all of the worlds out there in the entire multiverse that are existing in fifth dimension, six or above, are living paradise worlds. They're living paradise worlds. All right, one more question then. Hold on, Athena, I'm almost done. I'm looking for a question. Will we still be living in our same houses after the solar flash? Not technically, because you're going to be translated to a fourth or fifth dimensional Earth where your house is going to be made out of crystalline structure. So I don't think it's going to be the same house. I think it's going to be different. All you're going to do is translate your consciousness from your 3D to your 5D avatar, where you are living, in harmony and in abundance and in joy. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for being here, guys. Don't forget that my last class is this October. I think it's in about 2 weeks on a weekend, Saturday and Sunday, for both Ascension Basics and Cosmic Origin, the last class of the year. And also, I'm excited about making an appearance in Banning, California this coming November the 9th at the Fox Theater. For more information, go to my website, ourcosmicorigin.com, or you could just find it in the description. I will put my website in the description. With that in mind, I hope you guys have a beautiful night, and I will see you guys on Saturday night